I have read Saltwater Mittens from cover to cover twice, and I've put off filming this video because I was afraid that I couldn't fully explain my enthusiasm for this book. I'm Michelle, this is my romantic tangle, and one of my life goals is to have a basket of colorful mittens sitting next to my wood stove. If I pull together the mittens I've knit so far, it would be not a basket full. But I've knit mittens and I want to knit more mittens, and I love this book so much. The folks at Boulder Books sent me a review copy to share with you. And like I said, I had no idea how much I would fall in love with this book. It's not just the knitting patterns, those are gorgeous, but the content of this book just makes my heart sing. There are so many historical references. It talks about the mittens that they knit historically on the island of Newfoundland and knit today. There are all of these little quotes from historical books. So this one is from the Dictionary of Newfoundland English. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correct. When he was going on the Labrador, I'd have 12, 15, and 16 split mitts for him. Everything I have read before this book about knitting and heirlooms and knitting that's in the family for years seem to be the kind of knitting that is kept pristine forever and ever. These are knits that were worn. They had a dozen pairs because while they were using one pair, another pair was drying next to the fire. There is a second book in this series, Saltwater Socks. I only got to see a digital copy of it, so I can't hold it up and show it to you. But the socks are darned. These things were used and abused and worn out. And it doesn't sound like they were quite as precious about their knitting as some of the knitters I know today. Obviously, these took a lot of hours to knit, and they were important for day-to-day life, so of course they took care of them, but they used them and they wore them. There are lots of gorgeous pictures. There are lots of quotes from historical sources. I love their difficulty ratings. The difficulty ratings for the patterns are easy does it, tangly, most of the patterns seem to be tangly, and over the wharf. In this book it says this, the description of Over the Wharf: worse things happen at sea, preserve with this challenging experience and you'll make a work of art. In Saltwater Socks, the description of Over the Wharf is there will be tears by bedtime. And I don't know about you, but now and then I am in the mood for a project that is a there will be tears by bedtime project. The charts are large. I can read these without taking my glasses off and squinting at the page. There are trigger mitts, which have, here's a good picture of that, 3 fingers so you can wear them while working outside, while doing things. There is so much gorgeous color work here. I just really adore this book because, like I said, these are mittens that are made to be worn while you're doing stuff, and also gloves. Maybe I should get all inspired and knit my son some mittens to wear while he's outside splitting firewood. I could knit myself some mittens and I'm not splitting firewood, but I could carry it in maybe while they're done splitting it. It is the most gorgeous eye candy. It is the most intriguing historical lesson. I would love to look up the sources that some of these quotes came from. I don't know. I'm afraid they're little local publications and that they might be difficult to find, but just look at these. And one of the quotes in the book is that, well, first of all, the mittens were 100% wool, so they would felt with wearing. And also, if the gauge wasn't perfect and they didn't fit one family member just right, they would fit someone else. I love the attitude that these knitters had towards their work. I adore this book. Color work is one of those things that I desperately want to do that I'm absolutely not good at, but this is going to sit on my sewing room bookshelf forever, and one of these days I'm going to have the skills to make these. Let me know, do you knit mittens? If you knit mittens, do you knit color work mittens? Do you have a favorite yarn you use for it? I would love to know. Saltwater Socks is the same sort of book, but with socks. I adore it, but I don't love it quite as much as this one. Somehow the stories in this one make my heart sing just a little bit louder, but I do recommend them both. Thanks for watching. I'm Michelle. This is my Romantic Tangle, and I will be back with you with more videos soon.